What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here. Happy Monday and welcome back to another episode of The Casual Nerd. Today we have 3 articles that we're going into, but there's a lot of information in those 3 articles, so let's just jump into it head first, nose first. So up at the first article, it's already going to be chaotic down the comments. I can see it. I can sense the future. I am embracing That's So Raven energy right now. So it states here that Miyazaki says Fromsoftware's next game is in the final stages of development. Cue excitement. The Elden Ring director has suggested the project has been in the works for nearly 6 years, which would mean that it's quite possibly either Dark Souls 4 or Dark Souls 4. I honestly think that it's most likely, without a shadow of a doubt, Dark Souls 4, because there needs to be some sort of a conclusion to the Dark Souls series. I think that there needs to be some sort of conclusion to the Dark Souls series, because every series needs just a good ending game, whether it'll piss people off or whether it'll make them just really, really happy. I feel like each series needs their ending title. This could possibly be the ending title for Dark Souls. And I feel like, I'm going to predict something right now, I feel like this is where... This might not even happen, but I feel like this game will be the entry that Miyazaki will put in difficulty levels. Conspiracies. Now, it states here in the article that Elden Ring director Hidetaka Miyazaki has claimed that the next Fromsoftware game is nearing the end of development. In a new interview with Japanese site 4Gamer, Miyazaki was asked about the previous comment he had made in 2018 interview about having multiple games in development. Asked if one of those games was still on the way, Miyazaki confirmed, yes, it is. We are in the final stages of development. In the previous 2018 interview, Miyazaki stated that since 2016, the studio had been working on 3.5 games. The half game being a PS4 VR title, Diranshi. Oh my god. I really feel like it's gonna be Fallout 4. Fallout 4.
Strike that. Reverse it.
I really honestly think it's going to be Dark Souls 4. It's gonna be Dark Souls 4. I can bet it's something Dark Souls related. Either that, it's just going to be a DLC all about Smo and Ornstein. So next up in gaming news, Capcom reverses Resident Evil PC upgrade decision after an overwhelming community response. Players can now choose between the original release and the upgrade because the upgrade was shit. Don't mean to sound really negative. Who am I kidding? I love something negative and realistic. Capcom has reversed its decision to force upgrades of the PC versions of Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and Resident Evil 7. The updated versions that lined up with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X upgrades being released added ray tracing and enhanced 3D audio, but also raised the system requirements and caused performance issues for some users, causing many players to call a choice to return the old versions. Announced on each game's Steam page, the developer said that it had made the older versions of the games available again, in quote, due to an overwhelming community response. Sometimes you gotta just stay with what's good. I understand that game companies want to enhance everything. Good for you guys. I'm glad that you guys can enhance everything, but not everyone can actually afford the equipment for said enhancements. The fact of the matter is not everyone is going to own an Xbox, PC, Switch, and PS4, so companies need to be realistic, or PS5 for that matter. Not everybody, can own that kind of thing, because why? Money. It's too damn expensive. Like a lot of the time, if you are going to be investing in something realistically, you gotta pick one or the other. Now, if you are a content creator and you basically do this for a living like I do, you want to own all the things. And because I love collecting too, it burns that much more of a hole in my pocket. It's also really interesting because a lot of these companies, with providing these upgrades, a lot of people, again, they don't probably have the system requirements at all. Either that or the computer can just barely run the bare minimum. It's fascinating to me because it's like, again, technological updates, we live for them, we love them, but also companies need to be a little more realistic and about how they approach these things because, again, not everyone has the system capabilities in order to run half of the games that are being delivered at this juicy 4K, 8K quality. And the thing is that I might get crap for this. I don't know. But I've even said this before, but I really stand true on the fact that if you are going to get anything, get a really beefy PC. It's going to run you about $2,000. It's very much worth it. My entire setup, $2,400. roughly. I forget the exact number, but it was roughly $2,400. That's not including the double monitors. That's not including the microphone. That's not including a lot of the peripherals that's going on here. If we're going to add all of those up, easily $3,100. Easily. Easy. No dramatization. Easily $3,100. But that's because I made a commitment to have this as my career. That's because when you do this for a living, you have to invest in yourself or everything just goes down the shitter and it's over with, basically. Because people love good quality content that you can provide on YouTube. So what happens? You have to invest in yourself to get that quality up. When you are a normal, everyday person who does not do any of this for a living and they just want to play games, they have to just choose between which one is either really, really good or the less expensive option, which is why a lot of the time people go for a Nintendo Switch. It's really a less expensive option that you can go for, and it plays the majority of games. Or they get a Steam Deck, which plays majority of games. But my thing is always, if you have the monetary resources to do so, get a really beefy PC, and that's it. That covers you for literally everything. Sony is putting a lot of their games onto the PC, so you'll be able to get a lot of them. I know God of War, Death Stranding, and Horizon Zero Dawn is currently out on PC. I know you can mod a lot of the PC to have PlayStation games on there. I currently have the very first Silent Hill game that I'm reviewing at the moment. This is a very tough time economically, and it's when these companies kind of have this just do it attitude, it's demoralizing to say the least, because it's like you feel like you have to be at the top of your game in everything in order to feel like you belong in society, and that's not true. Just owning a PS5 or a PS4 is just fine. Just owning an Xbox Series S or X, that's just fine. Just owning just a Nintendo Switch, that's also fine. You don't have to have every console. You don't have to have every little bit of everything. It's a want, not a need. You know, and like I said, unless you're a content creation, it is a want, not a need. And finally in gaming news, because I love my heart to be shattered into a million pieces every single day, Konami is reportedly working to relaunch the Silent Hill franchise. Oh boy, but also, oh god, no. Can't we just let this series die in peace? Seriously, can't we just let it die in peace? Let it rip. Let it say silence on the hill, please. I have played Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 4 The Room, Homecoming, and that's it. I'm currently in the process, about to start, like I said, Silent Hill 1, then going to be going into Downpour, and then playing Origins. So it's my mission and goal in life to play every single Silent Hill game that there is. Now, it states here in the article that when we'll be seeing the next Silent Hill game from Konami has been one of the biggest topics of conversation within the industry. And though we still don't have any idea of when, it's good to get reminders that there are in fact games coming. Christopher Gans, the director behind the 2006 Silent Hill film, who recently confirmed he had written another film for the franchise, has also confirmed that Konami is indeed working to relaunch the franchise. In quote, "The franchise is going to be relaunched in terms of video games, and therefore the film will become a part of a global policy." Gantz spoke about this while in an interview with the anniversary release for one of the previous films. In quote, "I believe that on a forum someone deduced that, and he's absolutely right. In other words, the film is indeed part of a whole." Which it makes sense. If they are going to be doing a marketing campaign for the game, probably a month or two after the game's release is when they're probably going to be marketing the film as well. Global policy, I get that entirely. Marketing wise, it makes absolutely perfect sense, but the fact still remains that we don't have any tangible proof from the game company, or the publisher, I should say, Konami, that there is a Silent Hill game actually in the works. What about the developer? Is the original developer from Silent Hill even going to be working on the game? Is Kojima going to be a part of it? There's so many questions that I have about this, and the reason why I love covering about the Silent Hill news on a consistent basis is that you see the history and progress of the franchise keep growing and growing and growing. Sometimes you have these loose ends that needs to be covered up. Sometimes you have different, things that points that just end and there's no furthering it at all whatsoever. But with this rumor has potential, and there are people who have stated things. Gans has stated this in an interview. So we know that there is some certainty, not of date-wise, obviously, but there's certainty behind those words to an extent. So when I see this, I see, okay, I'm not going to take it for face value, but it's a possibility. Do I want to play a rebooted Silent Hill? Yes, but I'm also very scared. Not because of the content. I don't get scared easily by video games. You all know that by now. But scared because I don't want them to mess it up. Silent Hill 2 and 3 are very close to my heart, and Homecoming as well. They're very close to my heart, and it's something of where I feel like we might have a Resident Evil 3 remake situation on our hands. I don't want James to confront... This is going to sound so bad. I don't want James to burst out of the closet and be like, I'm confronting Pyramid Head on why he's R-wording the freaking mannequin thing. I want to see those graphics upped, and I want the quality and psychology of the terror in that moment of when James sees Pyramid Head R-wording a mannequin to stay true. I don't want political correctness to get involved in this game. This game came out in a time where it was wild, wild west. And I want the validity of the game and the trueness of the game to stay the way it is. Because let's be realistic, if we're going to be looking at a full-on remake of a game that is an absolute classic, like Silent Hill 2 and 3, we're looking at graphical updates, we're looking at story updates, we're looking at different multitudes of enhancements to the game, of the story, of the puzzles. I want them to keep the puzzles the same way. I want people to understand that there's more to a remake than just putting on a nice coating of graphics and calling it a day. There's a lot more to it, and a lot of people don't understand that when you remake a game, that remake of a game is probably going to be the first time anybody has ever played a Silent Hill game ever. And I want people's first time playing a Silent Hill game to be the one that is most similar to the game that I remember my first time playing it as. I played the HD collection. Don't get me wrong, it was still an interesting experience, but I got to play what was the most true version of that game. And I think that's where the bottom line comes to for me, is I want people to experience the truest form of Silent Hill. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to even be something of where the developers would want to, since we live in a society that gets so easily triggered by certain things, on some instances, rightfully so. But I want people to experience the whole breadth and wisdom and, how do I say this, chaotic beauty, for lack of a better term, that Silent Hill actually is. And Silent Hill is chaotic. Silent Hill is a beautiful nightmare. It's something of where you can get lost in it, and you can get lost in the story. You can get lost in everything within that game. I don't want it to lose. So those are my worries. Those are my qualms with it. I hope that the remake, if there is going to be a remake, that's done justice. You know, I really hope that we get a Resident Evil 2 remake quality out of this, because I think that's what it deserves. It deserves a remake that stays true to the source material while giving it those 4K, 8K, just powerhouse graphics. I want to see Pyramid Head in all of its 8K beauty. We deserve to see that beautiful boy in 8K beauty. But you guys, that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Casual Nerd. If y'all like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Oh my god, this Wednesday there's gonna be I might do an double upload. I haven't quite decided yet, but it's a possibility. But with that being said, stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.